I started with my microphone muted. All right, guys, can everyone see my screen? There we go. Okay, people might be coming in, that's fine, but we'll go ahead and get started. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Sarah Toll. I work for the state office with Mr. Lejeune, and I'm Area Officer Coordinator. So, oh, there we go. So for those of you who get elected, I hope to see you in the future. And today we're just going to be walking through the process, what's it's going to look like, especially since it's virtual. For those of you who we saw who are state officer candidates, this area officer candidate selection process is a little bit different. So be sure to pay attention because they are different with the rounds and everything. So like Mr. Lejeune said, if you have a question, just interrupt me, unmute, ask. We'll be happy to answer. Today is primarily about making sure that you understand the process and you feel totally and prepared for the day of. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, what is an area FFA officer? Some of you, I see familiar faces that you're rerunning, which is amazing. What an area FFA officer is, we have 4 areas in Louisiana FFA, area 1, 2, 3, and 4. You'll run you will never run against another area. You'll run inside your own area. And if elected, you're pretty much the representatives of that area. You'll work with ag teachers, state staff, our state officer team to represent FFA in your area, such as, area CDEs and LDEs. You'll really have a really big presence at leadership camp, at state leadership delegate conference. You'll serve as leadership delegates at our state FFA convention. So pretty much you really work really closely with our state leadership to make sure that everything at the area level is going as it should be, which is awesome. So it's a really great experience. Oh, here we go. Yeah, area officers' responsibilities and duties. You're going to represent Louisiana at the local, state, and national level. You'll participate in personal development. You're going to attend trainings and conferences, events that help you professionally and personally develop. You, as representing and being leaders in FFA, you're going to be able to research and understand topics in agriculture education, and FFA. That's really important that we know what we're representing and know how to talk about it and have those types of conversations. Speaking of conversations, you'll have a lot of professional conversations with industry leaders and educators, agriculture educators, state representatives. A huge part of being an area officer, especially I feel like this coming up year is going to be what we call BNI, which is business and industry tours, where we connect through our leadership with representatives in the agricultural professional industry, which is always really cool. And then of course, be able to work with their team and accept feedback and constructive criticism, because we're always wanting to be able to improve as an officer, leader, and person. Any questions on responsibilities or duties as an area officer? Okay.
Hi, Miss Sarah. I don't have any questions, but I do want to let you guys know I am at school. So I'll still listen to y'all, but I'm not going to show my face. I'm just going to have you in my ear because I am at school.
Totally cool. I understand. It's a Friday morning, so you're fine. And if you do have a question, you can send it in the chat or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. All right, so what is a nominating or selection committee? This is the group of people who are going to be interviewing you and listening to you, scoring you, and ultimately slating you in the positions that they feel will best serve the area. These individuals will come from your area. So if you're from area 2, you're not going to be interviewing in front of someone from area 4. It'll be made up of a group of your peers. They will listen to you every round. They'll score you, they'll deliberate, and they'll ultimately slate the officer team that they, what's called nominating committee's choice, which they feel best fits and best serves. So yeah, a committee that interviews candidates in order to select the best candidate to represent it should be our state at the local area level, and I put national, excuse me guys, but at the local area level. So that's who will be interviewing you. How do you score someone in an interview or in a NomCom? We base our scoring off of what's called competencies. These are behavioral interview traits and actions set from National FFA, and it measures a candidate's true personality and abilities. So why we have competencies is it because it's like you can't just check boxes in these interviews. You have to genuinely, it's like you can't just figure out the system. You have to actually be genuinely, competent in these different areas. This is what your nominating committee will be scoring you on. So you can go in for one round, say it's a personal panel. They're not just going to score you out of 5 on how well they liked you or how good you did in that personal panel. They're going to have a scorecard that breaks down individual competencies, such as communication. How well did you communicate? Team player, your knowledge of FFA, career success. And those are just some examples. So those are what they're going to be scoring you on, because it's going to be a diverse category of what they're going to be scoring in each round. So this is set up to make sure that we are, scoring as fairly as possible, because that's really, really important. All right, so round breakdown. There are 5 rounds for area officer. 2 of them are going to be done before the interview day. 3 are going to be interview rounds. So we're going to have writing, the area program plan, and if you're rerunning, you did this last year, those are pretty much the exact same. Personal introduction, advocacy panel round, and a personal panel conclusion. So to get into it, writing. Candidates will complete an essay based on a given prompt before participating in the selection interviews. This essay serves as a way to get to know the candidates before the interview process begins. And this writing, candidates are encouraged to express their purpose in running for office, as well as what they hope to accomplish. This essay will be turned into state staff before the day of the interviews and will then be scored by the nominating committee. So state staff, either Mr. Lejeune or myself, we're going to send out a prompt to all of you. You'll have a set amount of time to answer that prompt through a writing essay of your own, and turn that in for the committee to score before they meet you. So I can't really remember what the prompt was last year. I think it was something about one thing you wanted to accomplish as an area officer, something along those lines. It'll be close to that. This serves more as like an introduction, how the nominating committee can get to know you before they actually meet you the day of. So that is going to be technically your first round, and you don't even have to talk to anyone for that round. It's just going to happen before. And so when you go to interview, these scores will already be programmed, turned in, and all of that. Any questions on the writing? Okay.
When will the writing take place? Like, do y'all have a date yet?
That's a good Mr. Lejeune question.
I pulled up the one from last year, and I'm trying to remember when we actually did the committee. The Area 3 prompt was due last year on October 21st. I believe we had it turned in 2 weeks prior to the committee taking place. So if we do the same this year, you're scheduled to interview on June 14th. So these will probably be due in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lejeune.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you'll have ample amount of, did someone else? Okay, you'll have ample amount of time to be able to answer it and write it whenever we send out the prompt. But yeah, that'll all be made clear whenever that is sent out. Last year, because of COVID, it was pushed back a lot, and we didn't do all the areas at the same time. But this year, we're trying to make sure we do it as quickly as possible, with everyone being able to be elected at the same time. So we'll be sure to get those out and give you plenty of time to be able to do so. All right. Second round, again, going to be happening before the interview process, is what we call the area program plan. We do have an example from last year that we want to show you. And again, you're going to complete these before the day of the interview. It is both a prompt and a template to fill out. So you'll be like answering questions throughout. It'll be sent to all of you at the same time that your writing prompt is, because it's due at the same time that your writing essay is to be filled out. This round serves to allow candidates to showcase their ideas and plans of addressing a specific need inside their own area and their unique thoughts of improving it. Mr. Lejeune, do you have that example?
I do.
Do I need to stop sharing?
Yeah, stop sharing yours. I'll pull it up on mine.
Okay.
Sarah, just tell me how quickly you want me to scroll through it.
Yeah. This is the one, pretty much what's going to be sent out. This is kind of like the backbone of it. Pretty much so y'all can read that. Based on your knowledge and experiences, identify one need in your area that could be met through a new FFA program. This comes from a wide range of options, including but not limited to community service, SEEs, leaderships, and so forth. You must submit this template for your program to be scored. If we do not get these by the due date, that's not going to be good for you. Okay. So this is very important. The plan will be the plan will be scored based on SMART. Your idea and your plan for your area, it needs to be specific, needs to be measurable, needs to be action oriented, realistic. Like, we don't fundraising $5 trillion for your local area probably isn't a realistic plan. Make sure this is something that actually could be implemented if you were elected to area office and wanted to get it started. And time bound. When is it going to start? When is it going to end? How long is it going to last? You can scroll forward. Those are some special. Yeah, plan should not exceed 2 pages typed, Times New Roman, 12 font, no special characters, colors, highlights, anything like that. Pretty much the basic of basics. So here are what we used last year. This is
an actual example from.
Oh, okay. I was like, yeah.
This was the question, and then this was the candidate's answer. I just took out identifiers. You don't know who it is or which area.
So what's the need? Why is it a need? How did it come about? Who does it affect? So this is something that really shows the committee that you're passionate about serving your area and you understand or are knowledgeable about how you can improve the situation in your area. This can be ag ed related, agriculture related, FFA related, anything in between. This is something really for you to show your creativity as well and your passion for service. You get to come up with a title of your program. Make sure you're staying within the limits of the words. And then every plan, you need to have goals. If you're elected to any type of area, any type of FFA office, you must learn how to write SMART goals. So we might as well get started now. So you'll create 3 goals for your plan, as that candidate did last year. And then a plan of action. How are we going to implement this plan into our community and our area? And then they answered. And then how will we evaluate the success of the program? Because once it's implemented, how do we evaluate to see if it worked or not, or if it needs to be modified or improved? And then, yeah, pretty much if you have anything else to add, you can add to it. But again, not more than 2 pages. Any questions on that? Your template is going to look very similar to this one right here.
And it's probably going to be the same kind of prompt.
Yeah, probably very similar.
Miss Sarah, are y'all going to do the area program plan and the writing together? I know last year y'all did.
Are we going to send it together?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank
so
you.
When we send this out, we'll also have the prompt. It'll be 2 separate documents, probably in like the same email, and it'll have the same due date as well.
I can give you an exact due date. Give me 1 second. Let me go back and look on our calendar and see when we did this last year, so that you're not left wondering. Sarah, you can keep on while I look if you want to.
Yes, sir. Okay, I'm not good with Zoom, so how do I get back? Oh, did that work? Okay. Any other questions about the area program plan? Sweet. All right, the day of the actual interview where you're going to be in official dress talking to the committee, you will have 3 interview rounds. First one, personal introduction round. It is going to be you in a Zoom room with the committee answering 3 questions. You're going to have 5 minutes to answer. Now it says personal introduction round. The questions are going to be just that, personal introduction questions. I think I've probably gone through like 15 nominating committees, and they're all, I mean, they're pretty much what you expect. I added some examples. How do you define leadership? That's a really big one that they usually ask. How have you prepared for how has FFA prepared you for your future? Or like, how has FFA prepared you for your career? What's a challenge you've recently faced? What's a weakness and what's a strength? And so forth. You kind of get the gist of it. Why do you want to be an area officer? That's always a good one. Like, why do you want to lead? And give your reasoning. These are going to be chosen by the committee. So these are going to be questions that aren't assigned to the committee, but they actually want to know. So they're asking these questions because they genuinely want to know your answer. And it's probably going to mean a lot to them to hear your reasoning and your stories and everything like that. So that will be your first round. I will say you have 5 minutes to answer 3 questions. We have all of these area officers going through the process. And I wish I could give you unlimited amount of time to talk about yourself. But at 5 minutes, if you are not done answering, you will be cut off and be asked to leave, and you will not be able to finish answering. So I would practice seeing how long 5 minutes is to answer 3 questions and start practicing like that. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was reading the chat. Any questions on personal introduction? And if you're done before 5 minutes, whoever the moderator is will just say, okay, you can press leave meeting or leave room. And that'll be it. And then the committee will score you, and that's it. You'll get a little bit of a break before the next round. So no questions about personal introduction.
Miss Sarah,
Yeah.
will it be virtual?
Yes. So just how we're meeting now, that's how we're going to meet the day of. And we actually, after we go through the rounds, we'll be talking about how that's going to work. So we'll talk about it in a second. Yeah. All right. So for my state officer candidates that are in here, this is not how your advocacy round is going to work. This is different for area officers. Please remember that. Then your 4th round, your 2nd round of the day is going to be an advocacy panel. Again, 1 candidate in front of the committee, meaning you're going to be by yourself. No one else is going to be in, no other candidate is going to be in there. You will have 5 minutes to answer 3 questions in front of the committee, exact same as the personal introduction. But these questions are going to be less about you and more about your knowledge about agriculture, agriculture education, and FFA. Last year, for example, I think one of the questions, like the agriculture question they asked was, what was the biggest industry affected by COVID-19 in your area? So these are going to be like, this is like what we consider a knowledge round, because we want to see your research, your confidence in being able to talk about these topics. So you can expect 1 question of each of these 3 topics. They shouldn't be too difficult. Like, you shouldn't have to be searching and researching for a year to understand them, but you should be able to answer these. These are probably going to be questions about big topics in the 3 areas that we're asking about. Same rules kind of apply as personal introduction, 5 minutes to answer. Try not to go over it. We don't want to cut you off. We want you to be able to say everything you want to. And then you'll press leave room or leave meeting and come back for the last round. Any questions about advocacy panel? Cool. All right, last round is personal conclusion round. Exact same thing as personal introduction, except it's not introduction, it's conclusion. One candidate in front of the committee, 5 minutes to answer 3 questions. It is your last chance to really make an impact on the committee. Usually these questions are have a little more depth to them. They're a little bit more hard hitting, like, I remember a question, it's like, if we don't select you, what are you going to do? Or what is one of the hardest things you've had to overcome and what did you learn from it? They're really looking for honesty and like genuine, just like answers from them. This is the round that I say they want to see less of the candidate and more of the person. So just kind of keep that in mind. Just be ready to be honest and give true, genuine answers. And that's pretty much what the committee is looking for. This will be your last chance to speak to the committee before they start deliberating and slating their choices for the team. And that will be it. That's your last round. So any questions about any of the 5 rounds that we talked about? I know we're kind of going through them quickly.
We're gonna know like when we're gonna be doing this, right? So we're gonna give us specific dates when we're gonna start these rounds.
Yes, this is all going to be on June 14th.
Sarah, the due date for the written stuff will be May 31st.
Okay. So
And
y'all can write that down and that'll also be sent out in an email.
we're going to send those prompts out today. So by the end of the day today, you'll have the prompt for the area plan and the writing essay so that you can start working on it immediately. Make sure you have plenty of time to do it.
And who do we want them to send that to?
There's an email address listed on both prompts. You'll send it directly to there.
Yeah, I think it's like soc@laffa.org.
And you said that date was May
31st.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Oh, okay. Sorry, didn't mean to have that in there. Okay, this is going to be on Zoom. So there are certain security measures that we have to do to make sure this process is as fair and equal as possible. So security. Every holding room, preparation room, and interview room will be monitored by a Louisiana FFA staff member to ensure fairness for all candidates. So the day of the interview is going to look like you have a big holding room with all the candidates, kind of like we are right now. This will be like our what we call a main holding room. One state staff member will be in this room with you. And then there will be separate breakout rooms that the nominating committees will be held in. And one candidate at a time will be moved into there. The use of outside resources like phones, your advisor, family members, friends, computers, internet, textbooks, prohibited for every round. And in this process, you really shouldn't need any of those things. We're not really doing like a sit and deliver or anything like that, or a test or anything that you really are needing outside resources. But those are prohibited. And if somehow we find, that you're looking up things on your phone underneath the desk, and we will find out, you are going to be eliminated from consideration of being an area officer. That is something that we are not lenient on because it is specifically said no outside resources. Again, once candidates are finished with the round, don't talk about questions, your answers, prompts with anyone, just anyone. your advisor, candidates, anything until it's completed. This actually is a disadvantage for you because you don't want it getting back to other candidates and have them have more time to prepare than you did. We're just trying to keep it all fair. And like I said, any deviations from expected security procedures can and will result in removal from consideration. And this says state office. I apologize, guys. Area office. I will say the day of what we're going to do, you'll be asked to stand up and show that you have nothing on you. I'm in my grandma's office. You'll also be asked to scan. So you'll be asked to do just this. Show us the room you're in, like I'm doing. To make sure that no one else is in the room, that you don't have, I guess, things taped to your wall or anything like that. You shouldn't have any scratch paper. I know our state officer candidates are, but if you do, let us know. You'll be asked to show us it, like I'm taking notes for the meeting, but it should be blank. We ask you to keep your desk as clear as possible. If you have a phone, leave it in another room. Unless you're using it to do your Zoom interview, ask your advisor to hold it. Your advisor needs to be somewhere else, needs to be in another room, does not need to be sitting across from you watching you do your interview. They need to take a coffee break, do something. That's very, very important. Apple Watches, we had this question, Apple Watches. Just don't wear them. There's not really anything that you need, but the thing is Apple Watches do connect to the internet, and we are going to ask you to go like this. I just wouldn't wear it. You can have a clock on your computer.
Sarah, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Can we have like a timer to
Yeah.
like make sure we're on the time limit?
If it's one of those just like mechanic timers that it has no way connected to the internet, it's not smart or anything, like you can't have a timer on your phone going, but if you have just like a regular stopwatch or timer, absolutely. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you said that we have to tell you off we have a piece of paper. We are allowed to bring paper to like write down, just to remember what we said, right? Or take notes on, can we? Or
Yeah, go ahead and let us know. Oh, you mean like write down the question after they asked it to you?
well, like, I don't know. I like to write down to remember what I said.
Sure. That's fine. I would just, whoever is in your holding room, you can just say, hey, I have a piece of paper just in case. Show us the piece of paper front and back. And you can bring it in there. That would be fine with me. Yeah, we just have to ensure that it is blank. You don't have inspirational quotes written on there or anything like that before you go into a round.
Make sure it's a single sheet of paper, not a notebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this wouldn't really fly with me, like a whole notebook, but a single piece of paper would be fine.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Yeah, this kind of seems like a lot, but this ensures that it's completely fair and there's no questions about, if it's an equal opportunity or anything like that. Everyone's going to be held to the same standards, the same expectations. And we as a state staff are going to make sure that this is as easy without any bumps as possible for all of you. So this helps us make sure that's going to happen. I can't really think of anything else like security wise. Can you, Mr. Lejeune? I don't think I'm missing anything.
You're also going to have to make sure that whenever you're in the holding room and the interview room, your camera and your microphone have to stay on the entire time, because we want to be able to see and hear to make sure no one's in there trying to give you prompts, to make sure no one's coming in and out. So prior to the selection process taking place, you need to verify that you have reliable high-speed internet access with a good camera. For those of you that might be using a Chromebook, you need to strongly consider getting a laptop or a desktop with a webcam. Chromebooks are notorious for not working well. We've had a lot of students that can't get them to access the camera. We can't hear them well. So you've got a month prior to this happening. So make sure you take some time to work with your advisor and get your technology correct before then. We will be able to visit with you anytime between now and June 2nd. We're leaving for June 2nd for state convention. If you contact us before then, we'd be more than happy to get online with you and make sure that all your technology works.
Yeah, I was meeting with a state officer candidate a few days, yesterday or the day before, and they're having issues whenever they're at school with their being able to log on to Zoom because of like Chromebook and like Wi-Fi issues. I see a lot of you are at school right now. Just try to know now where you're going to be the day of the interview, because that's where we need to make sure you're able to access internet and able to access Zoom. Like their Zoom was being blocked by the school board or something very confusing that we finally got figured out. But yeah, that's a really good, I knew I was forgetting something. Microphones and cameras must stay on the entire time. Again, that's just ensuring fairness. Any other questions about security? I actually accidentally went forward on the PowerPoint. Cool. And if, like Mr. Lejeune said, if you have
This doesn't involve security, but
Yeah.
just to ensure that where I am when the date is. May I have the date again?
June 14th.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so day of the process. Oh, like I said, if you think of anything about security questions, I know last year it was our first time moving virtual. There was many questions because we were kind of learning as we did. I think now we kind of have the system down because we've been virtual for a while now. So we'd be happy to answer any questions. Yeah, day of the process. All candidates will report to the Zoom holding room by 8 a.m. on June 14th. Very, very important that you're there on time so that we can get this train moving as quickly as possible, work out any kinks, try to be in, like, get there early and chill out and hang. Yeah, 8 a.m. at the latest on June 14th. Interviews are to be conducted in complete official dress. I know like right now you can only see our heads, but go ahead and dress all the way in case something happens, you have to stand up. I hope you wouldn't be in pajama pants. That would be kind of embarrassing. Yeah, full official dress. Please be prepared to dedicate the majority of the day to completing the process. We are doing this entire process in one day. One thing also to consider is that we're doing all 4 areas in one day. So one area might have less candidates, therefore taking less time to get through each round than another one. So we're asking everyone to be patient, work with us. We are going to try to get everyone through as quickly as possible. So yeah, if you have any time restrictions that might end up being an issue, please tell us now as quickly as you can so that we can try to work through whatever it might be. We would obviously prefer you to have this day blocked off to work with us to get through this process. One thing we have noticed is like kinks come up, issues arise last minute, especially doing with like Wi-Fi, internet technology. To help us get over that as soon as you can, please send an accurate email address and a cell phone or phone number where we can easily reach you at to Mr. Lejeune today, like as soon as possible, so that we can reach you as quickly as possible during the interview if like your Wi-Fi drops out or your camera is no longer working. We've had all of that happen and we are able to work past it as quickly, pretty quickly. Speaking of that, just a reminder, say that your internet drops out in the middle of an interview. You are going to be able to complete that interview whenever we get you back up and running. Wi-Fi and technical difficulties are never going to be held against you. Yeah, but we hope that doesn't happen. Fingers crossed that we're able to get through this with nobody leaving or dropping out or anything like that. So,
Sarah, I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
And I know that this is so out of the ordinary that
No,
no one
you're
has
good.
ever had this before, but I'm gonna have to go to a physical therapy boot camp and that will be I will be gone the 24th, but it may take a week, it may take 4 weeks. I'm not exactly sure,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know what time that I will be in there. I will try my hardest to make it to where it is not conflicting. Of course, this
Okay.
is very important to me, but if there's something does come up, is there a way that I can fix it?
Stay on.
Have your advisor reach out to me.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it more. I mean, the NomCom is taking place on the 14th. There's not an alternative day to do interviews because that's when the committee is going to meet and get the report done. But if you think it might be a schedule conflict, just have your teacher call me and I'll talk with her about it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions about the day of the process?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
You said y'all are doing all 4 areas in one day. Is there like a certain order to the interview processes? Like, will it go candidate by candidate or will it go area by area?
Okay. There's going to be 4 different nominating committees. There's going to be an area 1, 2, 3, and 4 nominating committee. So it's only going, like, it'll be all area 1 candidates are going to go to this committee. All area 2 candidates are going to go to this committee. We're going to have different breakout rooms. So we're going to do, I mean, the day of June 14th, we're going to get everyone through personal introduction, then everyone through advocacy, then everyone through conclusion round. Does that answer your question? Like, you're not going to be mixed in. Was that Tanner that asked that question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're not going to be mixed in with like area 2 and 4. Do you
Yes,
understand
ma'am.
what I'm saying? You'll just be with a pool of area 3 candidates going to interview in front of the area 3 nominating committee.
Yes, ma'am.
But it is all taking place at the same time.
Yeah.
So all 4 areas will do personal interview at the same time. All 4 areas will do advocacy at the same time.
And
Yes,
so
ma'am.
say a candidate, an area is done quicker with personal introduction than another, that's just going to be a break for that area. And then we will all convene ready for the next round together.
And within the round, we just do a random drawing to see who goes first from your area in that round.
Thank you.
No problem. Does anyone else have questions about that? Like, this is all happening together, but you're going to different places. You're not going to be mixing areas or anything like that. They're not going to be in the same room. Nothing like that. It's 4 separate area NomComs, just one holding room, if that makes sense.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
So we'll get on at 8 in the morning. We don't have like scheduled times to get on. And do you know about how long it'll take, like, per person? Are they gonna line us up or just randomly call us in the breakout? Well, in our little holding room.
It's difficult for us to know, like, kind of like, we're going to start at 8 and we're going to finish by this time, because we have 4 different NomComs going on and we have to wait for each of those. Like, we have to wait to be done with the first round after all 4 areas are done, and then the second round when all 4 areas are done. So that's why we're asking, just be ready to kind of spend the whole day with us. Obviously not like super late at night. We're going to try to get through. It's only 3 rounds and you'll be in the NomCom room each round for no more than 5 minutes. Because you'll get cut off at 5 minutes, but hopefully you won't. Each round within your area, it is going to be a random draw to keep it fair. So just in the holding room, you're going to have to be kind of like listening, waiting for Mr. Lejeune or myself or whoever it is that's going to be moving you to the NomCom room. It's going to be a random draw. It's like, we don't have the list of the order of the interviews ready, like right now or anything. It's not predetermined. It's going to be random.
When we did this in the fall, Lauren, we finished everything by 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
It doesn't go super late, and there's going to be breaks. You'll finish your first round and then you're going to leave, and we'll tell you what time to come back for the next round.
Whenever you tell us what time to come back on, are you just gonna like shoot us an email or something, or send us a text? Because I remember last year we all got back on at the same time, but it's going to be a little bit different this year.
I plan on everyone coming back at the exact same time, like all areas coming back. We will send out an email saying what time, because yeah, we'll send out an email like everyone come back at 10:30 or whatever it is, and then you'll come back at 10:30. We'll start the round soon after. Same thing for the last round. Yeah, it would be too complicated to have like area 1 on their own schedule and area 3 on their own schedule. Like we're going to try to keep everyone together, just different breakout rooms.
Truthfully, the big challenge is not y'all. Candidates are pretty easy. You know, it's 5 minutes per interview. It's the committee that takes time, because I don't know how long it's going to take them to score. Some of them take a little longer than others to put a score down. There's transition time of getting you in and out of the room. That's what takes a little longer. So that's why like Sarah said, we can't tell you for sure you're going to start at 9:45. We just don't know that.
And you know, NomCom, they are filling out online scorecards. Like it's not like on a piece of paper. After you get done interviewing, they're inputting scorecards, their individual scorecards on a Google Forms. And so I remember we had like someone's didn't go through. So we had to halt, figure out why theirs didn't go through, make sure theirs is in, because they all have to submit their scorecards for one candidate before the next candidate can come in. So like Mr. Lejeune said, it's not a definite like schedule. I wish I could give that to you now and you would just like know exactly when you're going in, but we don't even know. And we're not going to know until the day of. And hopefully it goes quickly and we don't have any issues like that. But we just want to be prepared just in case. Any other questions?
So speaking of the NomComs, like the NomComs are going to be the schools from each area?
Yes. It's going to be composed of, like, I'm from Area 2. It'll be composed of students that from schools that don't have area candidates. So like, I'm from Tioga. So like if I was running, someone from Tioga could not be on the NomCom. It would have to be someone from a school that has no candidate. So like Milton, they can't have anyone on the NomCom and so forth. It'll be, that's a Mr. Lejeune question. I know state NomCom, it's 2 people from each area, but how many are on area NomCom?
There's no written guideline on how many are on the area NomCom. We shoot to have at least 5. We try to get an odd number for sure. We shoot for 5 to 7, so that it's an odd number, and there's enough of them to make it fair.
And it's just students on area NomCom, correct?
Correct.
Yes. So state NomCom, it's a mixture of adults and students, but for area NomCom, it's going to be hopefully at least 5, like Mr. Lejeune said, students from your area, from schools that don't have candidates. That way it's fair, because it wouldn't be fair if my buddy from Tioga is going to be in my NomCom room. Did that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Any other questions?
Do you know about how many candidates there are per area?
Mr. Lejeune knows that.
I do. I can pull it up. Hold on. We just had this conversation last week. Now you're going to make me try to find this file. Here it
I
is.
think you sent me a text message. I'm looking at my phone.
Oh, I did. Use that.
I have it. It says, this is from Tuesday, so I don't know if it's changed, but this should give like a good estimate. Area 1 has 6 candidates. Area 2 has 10. Area 3 has 12, and Area 4 has 11. So, I mean, pretty close in numbers. So that gives me hope that we'll be like on this near like the same time with each area. But it would, in that same regard, like that's why Area 1 might meet finish and Area 3 might be keep on going, and then we'll all meet back at a later time. I can't do fast math in my head to give you that total number, but yeah, those are the 37, 40. I'm not going to embarrass myself like that, but it's about that number. So yeah, did that answer? Your question, that was from Tuesday. I think it's the same amount,
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
39.
How many officers will there be per area?
Okay, so you'll have an area, we have a president, a vice president, a secretary, a treasurer, a reporter, a sentinel, and a parliamentarian. If there is someone who is running in junior high, they are running for what is called junior vice president. Only that office can only go to someone who is from a junior high chapter and running. So if you don't have anyone, that area just won't have a junior vice president. It's not a mandatory position. So is that 7? Sentinel. Yeah, 7 offices for each area.
Your area advisor will also be elected at the same
Oh.
time. They just don't go through NomCom. They'll just be
Right.
elected by popular vote.
So 7 student positions.
Do the area advisors change from year to year?
They're elected each year. So not necessarily do they change. I mean, the same person who was area advisor one year can run to be reelected, but their term of service is the same as area officers. It's year by year by year.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions? Okay. Oh, and then I had a slide for last minute questions. Anything before we adjourn?
Sarah, I've got just a couple of things.
Yeah.
We've had questions about why did we do state and area NomCom virtually again? The basic answer is just because so many school districts still have travel restrictions right now. Our state convention capacity, you probably heard it started at 250 per session. It's gone up to 500 per session. But the overnight aspect is still challenging. A lot of school districts either won't let students travel overnight, or they're so restrictive on how many can be put into a room that doing this at state convention just wasn't going to be possible. We weren't going to have the space or the room to do it, and then we couldn't guarantee that you could even stay overnight. So while we did not want to do this virtually again, we were hoping last year was going to be one and done on the virtual NomCom. We decided this was going to be the best way to do it one more time. If you do get elected as an area officer, you're not required to go to camp this summer because camp also has some pretty severe capacity restrictions. You're more than welcome to go talk to your advisor and get registered if you haven't done that yet, but you're not required to go to camp. We are planning, hoping, assuming that the school year is going to start off normally by August. Everything looks like we're in good shape right now. So if we do end up going back to a normal school year, you can plan for area officer training to take place in person, probably either in August or September. And then we're looking at you having a normal area officer year this year, where you'd be expected to go to area forestry, area LDEs, area CDEs, SLDC. And we're really hoping to enhance the area officer experience this year by giving you opportunities to do chapter visits, industry tours, work more closely with state officers so that we can expand our reach of FFA in the state. So bear with us, get through one more virtual thing that we have to do this summer, and then hopefully, God willing, we're going back normal in person once the school year starts.
I have a question about if we're running for state and area office. So I know the program and the essay are due the 31st, and then our elections are the 29th and 30th. So how is all of it going to work together?
You need to go ahead. If you're running for state, you need to get this stuff in. I would get it done before state NomCom.
Okay.
You got 2 weeks to do it. I would probably try to finish it up in the next week and send it to me so it's done and off your plate before you have to worry about state. And obviously, if you get elected as a state officer, you won't be running through the area process.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All righty. Again, if you have any questions that you can't really think about right now, and then it kind of pops into your head later, we're always going to be available to talk before June 2nd, because then June 2nd, we're going to Alexandria to prepare for the state convention. Just reach out to us. We're happy to help. We want this to be an enjoyable opportunity and experience for everyone involved, whether you get elected or not. So thank you all for coming. As of now, I think that's all that Mr. Lejeune and I have. This will be posted if you have any questions about the rounds or any of the expectations. And again, just reach out to us if you have anything, and we are excited to see hopefully all of you June 14th.
Do we need to be in all the sessions at convention?
No, that's not going to be required. If you're coming to convention, we hope that you're going to be in the sessions, but you won't be, area officers won't be elected until after state convention is over.
Okay, thank you.
Sarah, do y'all know when leadership camp is? I don't
Yes.
remember looking for that.
It is on my phone. What area are you from?
Area 3.
It says June 28th through 29th is the first rotation, and then June 30th through July 1st is the second rotation for Area 3.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
It's broken up into 2 options this year because of the capacity restriction. So you can either go the first 2 days or you can go the second 2 days. Every area has 2 options this year.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
All right. If you have any more questions, feel free to stay on. Other than that, yeah, y'all are free to leave. Presentation is pretty much over. So thank you so much. And we hope to see all of you very, very soon.
Bye, thank you.